What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Chasing Dallas Season 2, Episode 3. So we pick up where we left off. We are at game night at Markel's spot. King Kane and George, a.k.a. Georgina, a.k.a. Eddie Long, a.k.a. are still having their moment. And basically, Kane was like, look, when I met you the first time, you were one way. Now that we're filming, when I met you at the tattoo event, you had a different vibe. I just didn't understand where that was coming from. And George was like, well, all I was saying was, and here's the thing, George, this is what people are talking about. Not that you probably care, but in that moment when you were talking to Kane, you said, well, I never said I didn't know who you were. No, I never said I didn't follow you. I just said tell the people who you are, or what you do, whatever it was. But then in your confessional, you were like, let's just be clear. I didn't know who you were until I got on this platform. So which one is it? Either you knew who he was or you didn't know who he was. Either you were following him or you wasn't. Shit. Then you want an apology from Kane. I'm with Kane. You be in your grave before you get that, because I don't think you owe him an apology. I just don't. I just think you're doing a lot. Markel. If you don't, I will say this. Markel, you are equal opportunity shade thrower, because you just throw shade at every damn body. You probably throw shade at the bathroom attendant. You probably throw shade at the videographer. You probably throw shade at the bartender. Like, you just are equal opportunity, because throughout this episode, you were throwing the shade. So anyway, they got to arguing, and poor Ariel was sitting on that couch like chewing the hell out that gum, like, what the fuck is going on? And then in her confessional, she did say that she was a little faded. I don't know if she was saying she had been drinking too much or she was tired. But neither here nor there, she was disconnected. And, Dior was like, I felt like they should have been paying more attention to us than paying attention to what was good. Like, we knew kids on the block too, and nobody's trying to get to know us because they too busy arguing with George. I can see your point. Premier was, I did give me a little wooda action this episode. Okay, wooda. Wood looked like he lost a little weight too. I don't think he lost none of that ass, but he looked like he lost a little weight. Okay, woo. We got a little Premier this episode, although it was a little different. Premier was like, he broke up the argument and was like, look, come on, let's have a good time. And they looked like they had a really good time. A couple of those games I'm going to put in my back pocket for my next game night. The banana split one looked fun. Of course, they played like a version of Spin the Bottle. I think it was Spin or Dare or something like that. So they was kissing on each other, and that's when Markel threw his first. They need to do a shade-o-meter on just Markel. Period. Just Markel. Just get his own shade-o-meter. Okay? So then, the first little piece of shade from Markel, he was talking about Rock kissing on Carrie. And talking about, do you know what you just kissed? Well, Markel, that's the case with anybody you kiss. It just so happened that Rock probably got more bodies than the average person, but at least he got paid for it. I know people who got that many bodies for free. So they looked like they were having a good time. And then there was this other guy there named Antonio, who, have we even been introduced to Antonio? Do we know who he is? Is he a cast member? Was he just some random person that was there? Who is this man? Do we know him? Help me out in the comments if we know him. But what it seems that Antonio hit up Premier and was like, you need to be careful with Reese, because if you let him in your house, he gonna read your house, this, that, and the other. Sent that information to Premier. So Premier was like, oh, okay, cool, I got my good eye. Or was it the other way around? Wait a minute. Maybe Antonio sent Reese the text about Premier. Either way, they found out about the text, and somehow they got to arguing. Premier was arguing with Antonio, and then he threw Reese's name in it. It seemed like it was out of left field, and Reese, who I feel like was drunk at this moment, because Reese's face looked like he was faded. Reese was like, what? You know how when you chilling somewhere and you hear your name and you like, What? That's how I feel like it was. Because Reese was like, how my name get in this? Like, I don't know how I got in this. And then Premier was like, well, if y'all on this show feeling like y'all gonna that y'all getting close to Reese, just so you know that he not a good friend and it ain't gonna work. And then he proceeds to like exit stage left, and I was like, what? And then Reese chased him down the steps, and all I saw was one of them falling down them damn steps. Because by this time, everybody was a little drunk, everybody was a little extra, everybody was a little whatever, and they tried to get them off them steps. Because yeah, that wasn't a good idea for y'all to be on the steps. And Reese was trying to talk to them. You know, Reese, I want a nickel for every time Reese has to say, I've been a good friend to you. I've been a good friend to you. I want a nickel. No, a quarter. A quarter. Because I feel like I could buy myself lunch. If I had a quarter every time Reese says, I've been a good friend to you. Now, I don't know why everybody be coming for Reese. I don't know. But then Reese decided to go. Now, Reese went live. They showed the clip of Reese going live. And I think I remember this live, but I don't know if I do or not. Because I tried. Oh, excuse me, y'all. It's not because the show was boring. It's because I'm tired. I feel like I catch a lot of Reese's lives. I don't remember. I don't know. But Reese went on to talk about, he went live and he went on to talk about how, you know, y'all said last season was boring. Well, this season, honey, y'all got a lot coming. And he started talking about people doing coke. Now, I don't know if he was talking about Premier or Antonio, but he was throwing it at one of them. And the whole time he going live, Markel drunk ass is in the camera licking out his tongue and stuff. And again, because this happened at the end of the night, and I feel like all of them were a little twisted. All of them was a little faded. Then Markel threw shade at the Antonio boy for wearing tight jeans. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know who this man is. Who this here Hoppo? That's how I felt the whole time. I was like, we have a whole scene that this person started, and I don't know who this person is. Anyway, so that was that. Game night over, honey. It ended with a bang, child. So we have this scene with Wooda and Trey. Trey was not at game night. Wooda was. And I feel like this scene was supposed to be Wooda telling Trey how everything sort of went down. But it was a very awkward scene for me for a couple of reasons. One, it was awkward because Trey and Wooda don't know each other. It was their first time meeting, and I thought maybe they were going to have a training session, because he said, well, I heard Wooda's a good, trainer or whatever. He was like, I heard some good things, I heard some bad things. So I thought maybe he was there for a training session, but then it seemed like they sat around for a long time just kind of talking about what happened at game night, and Trey wasn't there, and Trey don't even know who half these people are. So it was an awkward conversation. It was a weird conversation because Trey didn't know who any of these people were, and he wasn't there. So it was just kind of like, I mean, he said, well, I know that, George and Kane probably had some moments because they've been throwing shade at each other. And so they talked about that. They talked about, the whole Premier situation. Then they talked about how both of them are single, and Wooda gonna hook Trey up, and then Trey said that he gonna hook Wooda up, and they was kind of working out a little bit. It was just a weird scene, because I feel like that would have been a better scene if it would have been a training session between Wooda and Trey, and they just had the conversation about are you single? Are you dating? How long you been here? A normal getting to know you, because I don't know. Anyway, there was that. Then we had a commercial intermission, and we had our Ayana Van Zap moment, and I like this little Reese. I don't know where you found Ayana. I don't know, but I really like this little intermission. I like her. I like her little shtick. I like it. It was funny. It was accurate. I liked it. I thought it was cool, and I like her. So y'all keep that going. That was good. That was a good addition. Y'all keep that going. Then we see Trey and Dior. Now, remember, Trey, we met last week at Houston Splash for about 5 minutes. And I was like, I guess he going to be on the show. But we only saw him for about 5 minutes. But he had a moment this episode where he was doing a show. Now, I was a little confused. And I'm not saying this to be shady at all. Trey is a stylist. So, was the show these were all outfits that he styled. These were not outfits that he made. Okay. So he had a show, and the venue was a club. So Dior, Trey is Dior, one of Dior's kids. And so Trey was like, Dior was like, when I first got there, I was just a little confused. Because there really wasn't a runway. It was like a club, and I wasn't really sure. But I feel like it worked for the type of clothing that Trey had. Again, whether he pulled the outfits or whether it came from a clothing line. Because he said that his aesthetic is very club kid. And it is. Like, a lot of those outfits are not things that I would ever wear, even if I had the body to wear them, because that's not my aesthetic. But I definitely saw the influence of, like, that whole kid vibe. Like, there was an outfit with a straight jacket and some thigh-high boots, and then there were some cute little looks in there. Again, they were not things that I would probably wear, but I'm not 20 years old either with, a size 8 body, But Dior did the hair, for the models, and, seems like he donated his time. And he said that, he was very proud, of Trey. Overall, he was proud of Trey because he's young, he's going for it, and Trey even said, for my first show, I just need to show folks that just because I'm young doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. And I'll be honest, putting together, whether those were looks that he pulled or designs, that was a big endeavor to take over, to say you're going to put a show together on your own dime, your own time. So it was a lot, and I think bravo Trey, bravo. I think for it to come off, he said he had a lot of people cancel on him, so he had to make some adjustments at the last minute. And again, that's always going to be a challenge, especially when people are doing you a favor. Then they feel like they can pull out whenever they feel like it because they don't owe you. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, they're not paying me to do this. I'm doing this for free. Trey, you're going to learn, honey. But you did. It looked like you were able to adjust. I like Trey. I only seen Trey for 5 minutes, but I like that attitude. And I really like this second look. Now, I ain't going to tell you. I ain't going to lie. That look you had in the confessional last week, I didn't quite get it. I get it a little bit more now that I know your aesthetic. Now that I know you're more into like that club kid type thing. But I didn't get it last week. But the outfit you had on in this week's confessional, that little fur jacket, the jacket with the fur collar, baby, and that brown turtleneck, I like that. Anyway, so that was nice to see. Then we see a scene with Carrie D and Markel. Let me tell you how I love me some Carrie D. Because Markel brought up the game night situation, and I don't know what Markel was trying to get Carrie to say, but he was asking him, well, what did you think about Reese? Well, what do you think about, Reese would bring drama? Do you think, and I don't know if he was trying to get him to say something about Reese, or if he really just wanted his input on what happened, trying to create the conversation. And Carrie answered the questions as appropriately as he could without possibly something coming back to him. Because see, whenever you're talking to somebody and they have an established relationship, you never know what could happen with that conversation. So knowing that Markel and Reese are friends, at least up until this point, everybody knowing that they're friends, not quite sure what Markel wanted Carrie to say. And Carrie felt the same way, and Carrie was very cautious in his answers. And then he said in his confessional, not really sure why he's talking to me about Reese. I feel like that's not my business. I feel like that's a him and Reese conversation. If he wants to talk, he needs to talk to Reese. And I said, that's right, Carrie. You stay out that drama. You say, look, this is not my situation. It's not my conversation. And there go Markel, the shade meter. He started talking about Carrie D picking up weight. First he said, well, the first time I saw you, you were in a showcase. And what he say? He called him a muskrat, a wild. What did he call him? He called him something. I should have wrote it down because when he said it, I was like, Markel, you shady bitch. Then he started talking about how the man putting on weight. I said, Markel, if you don't go sit your shady ass down. But I'm with you, Carrie. I ain't too sure about why, what, when, where, who. That conversation for him to talk about Reese. Don't you get in that. Don't you? I mean, I know y'all already filmed all of this, but don't fall for that okie doke, honey. No, ma'am, no, sir. Don't do it. Then, the last, part of the episode was very serious. It was in reference to violence against trans women and men, but we know that it's mainly against trans women. I shouldn't say mainly because I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I feel like it is. You guys remember back over the summer there was a transgender woman who had been attacked. The video went viral, and then a few weeks later she was found killed. So this is when that happened. And again, if you follow Reese G on social media, you know that he very much was active in the community, the LGBTQIA community of Dallas. During this time, he publicized it on his Instagram. There were some town hall meetings, and things of that nature he participated in. Ariel O'Hara, understandably, was very upset. And what I did not realize, and I know that Texas is not unique to this, but under the hate crime statute, sexual identity is not identified as a hate crime. So meaning if someone, her name was Malaysia Booker, meaning that her killer under current Dallas law cannot necessarily, and I say necessarily, but cannot necessarily be indicted under the hate crime statute. And what we do know is that under a hate crime statute, the penalties are a lot stiffer. In Texas, you can actually get the death penalty for a hate crime, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe that to be true. It's a very sad situation, and we know the statistics. And Ariel O'Hara, and she may get some backlash for some of the statements that she made, but I understood her anger, and I understood the point she was trying to make. I definitely understand that people can maybe take what she said and twist it for what they want to twist it for. But if you listen to what she was saying and you understand the anger in which it was said, then you understand what she was trying to say. And she made some comments about, cops killing black men and how, she like fine, good. And I understood where she was coming from the point of view of a lot of these black men that they want us to go out here and protest for and do all these things to protect their rights are the same ones that are violating my rights. Dior talked about how one of his children, a trans woman, I think just the week prior, had been robbed, beaten, and kidnapped. But for the grace of God of her getting out of the trunk at the red light, they ended up stealing her car and putting her in the trunk of her own car. But for the grace of God that I guess she knew with the emergency, because a lot of cars now have emergency latches from the inside for that exact reason. I guess she was able to get the emergency latch and get out of the car. And then the people that stole her car tried to shoot her. And they did not, they were not successful. But again, and Ariel O'Hara brought up a good point. She said, now what was she doing? People always want to say, oh, well, trans women be trying to trick men, and that's why they get mad. That's why they get attacked. She said, well, who was she tricking, putting her groceries in her trunk of her car, minding her business? Who was she bothering? So it's definitely an issue that needs to be addressed. It needs to continue to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. Awareness needs to be brought to it. I thank Reese G and Ariel O'Hara and Dior for sharing that moment. And I thank the Chasing Reality platform for including that in the episode, and I think that it needs to not be a name, it needs to be a movement. So with that being said, within the episode, at the end of the episode, they did put the suicide hotline up there. If you feel it, you feel in a kind of way and you need to talk to somebody, that suicide hotline number, I'm gonna put it in the description box. Okay. So with that being said, I hate to end on a sour note, but it is reality. This is chasing reality, chasing Dallas. So it is reality. And so we're going to leave it there. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.